What's the deal, family? Another episode of the Black Money Podcast, and today we are switching it up. We are interviewing my boy JP, and this is something that we've been talking about doing for a while.
What's going on, y'all? JP Boogers on the gram. Excited to be here. Been friends with Ray for years now, so excited to come out here and get some value, some information.
Let's do it. So, tell me about yourself. Like, where you from? Let the audience know who you are. Who's JP?
Born and raised in Detroit, Michigan, West Side. I've been here my whole life. 2 years I went to go live in Atlanta. I used to play college basketball at Eastern Michigan before I got hurt. That's how I met Ray through a business venture we were doing. Made a lot of money and then moved out to Atlanta, Georgia, and then moved back to Detroit. And yeah, that's kind of my story so far.
Cool. So let's get right into it. Like, when it comes to sports betting, like, how did you get into it? Like, who introduced you? What made you? You feel me?
Type shit. So people always ask me that. Believe it or not, the person that taught me how to sports bet is my dad. I was 16 years old, and my dad was betting on football at the time. And I never forget, I was 16 years old. It was the month of November, and in the first month, watching him doing and stuff like that, and him kind of showing me what to do, I made $6,000 profit.
But that's 16.
I'm 16. So when I made the 6,000, I went to withdraw the bread, and they had me submit my ID, and then they figured out I was underage. They closed my DraftKings account down. I wish I could find an email so I could show it to you, but they closed my account down when I was 16, and then from that point on, I just started using his account or people that was older than me and making money from there, just breaking them off whenever I withdrew. So that's who taught me the whole game. Like, literally to this day, he literally just got off the phone with me. Talking about we about to start a podcast on like going over betting and stuff like that. But yeah, he taught me the whole game in terms of football, basketball, baseball, everything. Everything I know is because of him.
How much do you feel like your picks, your bets is based off of skill versus luck?
When it comes to sports betting, it's very it's skill based to a certain extent. So it's kind of like sports in real life. Like, granted, Steph Curry is very, very skilled. The Warriors are very, very skilled, but there's a lot of luck that's involved in sports. Like, every sports team that's won a championship, you can kind of say that they were lucky to stay healthy enough to stay, to be in the finals or whatever it may be. So, just like sports, there is skill involved, but to a certain extent, because without luck or certain things going your way, then you would lose a lot of money in sports betting. So, I wouldn't say 50-50. I would say more so like probably 75-25, 75% skill, 25% luck.
For sure.
You could be as good as you want to, but if the bet you put in on the player and he tears ACL the first play, there's nothing really you can do about that. So it's like, so.
What's your process for researching games and making picks?
It's so great. I actually got I ain't gonna show y'all, but I actually got my book right here. This is my football book. So this is one of the books for this season, but I'm gonna give y'all a little free sauce. I ain't gonna say too much. The way my dad taught me how to do it is it's kind of like school. If you don't study for the test, you're gonna fail the exam. A lot of people lose money in sports betting because they literally get on the app 5 minutes, 10 minutes before the game, and they just, I think Steph Curry gonna do this. I think LeBron gonna do this. Like, that can happen, but like that's not. You more so take it as a hobby, and I don't take it as a hobby. Like, I've been doing this full time since I was 16, like I said. So I got books in terms of research that I go through and I look at, point spreads and total points for the game, trends for the last 5 to 10 games, things of that nature. So I would say that's something that I do for research for sure. And the fundamental side of it, and like knowing stuff such as, for example, Stephon Diggs goes home and plays against his old team. They play against the Bills this weekend. It's little things like that, knowing who was on what team previously and, the rivalries and things like that are definitely things that I look into when it comes to sports.
What's the largest amount of money you ever bet on a game, and how did you feel waiting for the outcome?
The largest amount of money I ever bet on one game is $9,500. I'll never forget, this is a person that I'm going to give a free promo, Mozzie. I didn't tell you about Mozzie before, so how long ago was this? Me and my man Bob, his name Mari, but he told me about Mozzie, I want to say like 3-4 years ago. Mm-hmm. And if you don't know who Mozzie is, he's probably the best sports bettor in the world. Like, literally bet millions of dollars per game. And essentially how it goes is Mozzie charges $1,500 for one pick. Like, a lot of people think that they get money, but like, if you want one of his picks, you gotta pay $1,500. So he had a thing or special where you could pay $1,500 for one pick, or you could pay 5 bands for 5 picks for the full week. So what me and my man did was, people already know us from sports betting, so we would get like a group of people that wanted to invest into his picks, and then they would pay $100, $150, whatever it may be, and we would get the picks for the week. That's kind of how we built the confidence up for that week, for that month that we were doing that. Mozzie went 26-4, I believe. And literally, I wish I had the screenshot. Somebody in our chat, in our iMessage chat, turned $1,000 into a little over 90,000 just following his pick for that full month. Like he was literally 26-4. My largest bet was somewhere in the middle of that. It was a hockey bet. I'll never forget. It was 9,500 on. I can't remember the team, but it was a hockey bet for sure. And I don't really know too much about hockey, but that day I watched it and I was sweating and I put my mans on. It was a whole bunch of people that I put onto it and they was nervous too. But luckily he cashed for me and I made my money. So yeah.
So have you ever made like a bet like purely based on intuition? Like,
of course.
Nothing else, just pure intuition. And how did it turn out?
So, like I said, I'm a former Division I college basketball player. So, intuition, it's just kind of a feel. It's kind of like anything. Like, you know, if you've been doing it long enough, you could kind of feel when something is a trap or something don't feel right. For example, last year in the Super Bowl, when the Chiefs were down, my intuition said, "There's no way Pat Mahomes and them are losing to the 49ers. Like, it's just not happening." So I literally went downstairs at the Cosmopolitan. I put another bet in for $1,000, you know, when they were down to come back and win the game. So that's an intuition-based bet. But yeah, I do that all the time because it's like, it's burned me a couple of times, but more times than not, I'm gonna trust my intuition because I've been doing it for a very long time. Like I said, 9 years now.
So speaking on what you just said, do you think betting has negatively impacted like the integrity of sports?
Of course.
Like, how do you feel like the relationships between sports and gambling?
When you have the NFL and the NBA and all these people actively promoting FanDuel and DraftKings, of course it's negative. It's like, granted, like when I first started doing it, it wasn't like big promos and you're not seeing all this stuff on Instagram and TikTok and social media because sports betting wasn't a big thing 9 years ago, 10 years ago. People were doing it, but it wasn't being posted like it was to this day. So I think the correlation between the two are definitely negatively impacted because you got players actively speaking out on, "Oh, I hope I miss y'all parlays." Like, you should be worried about your job. You shouldn't be worried about making people. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, of course, it's negatively impacted. But I mean, at the end of the day, like I always tell people, sports betting is something that you should do with disposable income. Like, if you can't afford to lose the money, you shouldn't bet it. Like, don't be betting your rent. And I'm speaking from experience. I didn't did this. I didn't been there and bet my rent and won, bet my rent and lost. You know, it's highs and lows that come with it. But when it comes to sports betting, like with the sports, like NFL for sure. Like, if you really go look at it right now, I'm about to give you some stuff. The NFL is not actually a football league. It's actually entertainment. Like, they can literally decide what's going to happen before the game even comes on. So it might look like, you know, they are trying as hard, but like, I'm being real. It's an entertainment league. So if entertainment can be scripted, just like, you know, your favorite TV show, then of course it's impacted by, you know, the higher ups. You know, Vegas making that call, So.
Okay. So saying what you just said, like, has sports betting ever impacted like your relationship with somebody?
If I'm helping y'all make money, bro, like the way that I do my stuff, I don't ever charge anybody for like once they actually make their bread. So for example, if I help you make $10,000, I don't need a percentage of your money. Like, that's not how I do it. But like people I put on for free, you know, like family or friends, stuff like that. I got plenty of friends before I even started charging for my picks that used to just follow my picks and make bread, and they would never break me up nothing. Like, it was just off the love of me knowing what I was doing type shit. So not family, but I know it's friends for sure because, you know, they just everybody wasn't raised the same. Like me personally, if somebody helped me make money, like I'm gonna at least promote their business or, you know, break them something off just to show my appreciation toward it. But everybody not like that, you know. And I appreciate you for that because I remember when I first put you on and I made you some bread, you gave me a couple hundred. You see what I'm saying? You didn't have to do that, you know. But like, yeah, I definitely lost plenty of friends over that. But vice versa, I also gained a lot of relationships as well from, you know, word of mouth. You know, I put something out there, if somebody win, they reposted their man's country. Like, it's a two-way street. So yeah.
Speaking on that, because that's crazy. My first time ever sports betting, ever sports betting was with him. Right? I was literally turning. It was my 21st birthday. You know, got 21.
How old are you?
23 now.
Okay, baby.
So it was my 21st birthday. That's crazy to think. I'm about to be 24 on my 21st birthday, bro. He's in like.
Oh, in Houston.
Yeah, he was out of town. So he was like, he had texted me, or I had texted him, one of the two, and we was basically obviously talking about betting. He was like, "You ever made a FanDuel?" I'm like, "Nah." So we on FaceTime. I set the FanDuel up on FaceTime with him, and he went through the picks, and he was like, "Here, I'm gonna send you this bread, and you can follow it if you want to, whatever." I'm not playing, y'all. I swear on everything I love. But bro, my first time betting would have won like $3,000, and that's one bet, another bet, another $2,000-3,000. And then we did it again the next day for like 6,000. I'm not playing. In the first 2 days of me betting, I won over $5,000 to $10,000, and that's just crazy. So I'm gonna put his Instagram out here. Make sure y'all tap in with his picks, tap in with his chat.
So great. I'll never forget. I was in Houston with my man. We was literally at LA Fitness by the hoop. The game's about to come in like an hour and a half. I'm like, bro, because the thing about it, like, that was back when FanDuel wasn't, well, it's still not legal in Texas, but I used to use like Bovada and stuff like that. But like, this is back when FaceTime just started getting screen shared. Because like, I will always call back home and try to walk girls or my sister through getting the picks and stuff like. But like, most girls don't know how to go navigate through FanDuel. Like, so, but once they introduce screen share, the game's over. Because now I don't have to be in the state that has FanDuel. I can just call a girl that I trust, give her my login info, and they can go make it. So that's what I did with Ray. I called them, had them screen share, told them what pick to put in. And like you said, you had beginner's luck. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely.
You know what I'm saying? Like, don't take it like that. Don't think if you tap in with me, you're gonna make $10,000 your first day. I have made people thousands of dollars. You know, I've created plenty of six-figure earners from it.
Do you think there's a such thing as a sure thing in betting? Like, is everything up in the air until the game is over?
Absolutely not. Listen. I want y'all to really listen to this. There is no such thing as a lock in sports. Ever. There is no such thing as a lock. If somebody tell you it's a lock, run from it. Right? It's nothing guaranteed in sports. And I have so many different stories. I'm going to use my most recent story. The Lions played the Seahawks on Sunday or Monday. Which one was it? It was this week.
Yeah.
I think it was Monday Night Football. Okay, I'm gonna tell y'all literally how I literally was supposed to win $3,000, but it didn't happen. You know, and this is 3 different parlays. So it was a 2-game special where the Tennessee Titans played the Miami Dolphins and the Lions played the Seahawks. So again, if you don't know, like, even though I played basketball, my favorite sport to bet on and watch is football. Like, bar none. Like, on Sundays, I do not call my phone. Do not text. I'm not doing nothing with you on Sunday. I literally go to church and then I go watch NFL Riz on my dad all day. This particular day, he wasn't back in town yet. I went to Columbia last week and he went to Columbia last week too, but he came back 2 days after I did. So he wasn't in town for me to go watch the game. So I'm researching and doing everything on my own, I'm like, bruh, these games are going to, the first game is going to be shitty, but the Lions game is going to be a good game. So I put in 3 separate bets. I put in, 4 actually. Two-leg parlays for first touchdown scores with David Montgomery, the running back for the Lions, and then I put the 2 running backs one for the Titans and then one for the Dolphins. So if you watch the game, Montgomery scored first for the Lions, so that's hit. The whole first half of the first game, Tennessee and Miami, nobody scored a touchdown. Yeah. So I'm waiting for a touchdown to happen in the second half. In the second half, I bullshit you not, Tony Pollard breaks a run for 75 yards down the sideline. Xavier Howland hawks him down on the 6-yard line. I'm like, damn, he was supposed to score right there. Then they go Wildcat, and they give it to Tajay Spears. He scored the touchdown. So on that bet, I had 25 to win 1,200. That didn't happen because he got hawked down to the 6-yard line. The second bet, I had another one for Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery, Devin DeCain to score touchdowns, and the Lions to win the game. That one was 50 to win $1,026. Everybody scored a touchdown. Devin DeCain got stopped at the 1-yard line 2 separate times in the Miami game. I didn't catch that one. And the third bad beat from that game was I had Montgomery score a touchdown, Kenneth Walker to score a touchdown, DK Metcalf to get 60 yards. I had Jahmyr Gibbs to get 40 yards, and I had David Montgomery to get 50 yards on the ground. Everything cashed in the first half. A dude had just got into my chat literally an hour before the game. He said, damn, we damn near good already on the first half. But I've seen this story before. Like, you can never, I tell people, never celebrate before it cashes. Never. Don't go pose. It's just bad luck. When he texted me that, I damn near wanted to block him because I just knew. David Montgomery had 40 yards in the first half. He needed 10 more yards. That was the only thing. No, actually, let me stop. He had 42 yards in the first half. He needed 8 yards to cash. Everything else was already done. In the second half, he did not only get another rushing yard, he went backwards twice. He finished the game with 40 yards. I lost that parlay. That one was 100 to win 1,200. I was supposed to win 12, a band. That's supposed to be like a $3,400 day off of damn near $150, $200. But it didn't happen because there's no such thing as a lock. So, no, I don't believe in locks.
You don't believe in locks? No such thing as a sure thing. No. What's one piece of advice you would give someone who's just starting betting?
One piece of advice.
Also a warning. One piece of advice and one.
So I'm gonna just give out my 3 pillars when it comes to sports betting. There's three things. The reason why most people are not profitable in sports betting is greed, discipline, and jealousy. Those are the three pillars to a lot of people, and I'm gonna explain all of them. So greed meaning that, for example, when you place that first bet that I told you about, I only believe we only risked $100 to win $3,000, something like that. 100 to 3,000. It could have been one or two things that happened to Ray when that happened. He could have won that 100 to 3,000 and said, "Damn, if I did that, what if I put 1,000 on it? I'd have won 30,000." He could have came back the next day and tried to put 1,000 on it. Now, granted, he would have still won because he won the next day too. But that's the greed factor.
Bad.
Exactly, that's the greed factor behind it. Like, you got to be grateful for the wins you got, even if you only turn 50 to 150. Like, I look at it like this: if I'm reaching my pocket right now, I got $50, and after the game goes off, it's not 150. That's like magic to me. Like, don't be greedy with magic. Discipline meaning that you gotta have like a plan. Like, if you want to take it serious, like if you're just doing it for recreation, that's cool. But me personally, like, I have a plan. I know how much I deposit per week. I know how much I withdraw. Like, don't be a professional depositor. A lot of people that sports bet, they deposit all the time and they never show me a withdrawal. So it's like you're really just literally just pocketing. You're literally just feeding the sports book pockets. The third thing what I say is jealousy, meaning that be grateful for your wins and don't fall in love with social media, because just because you see me win $2,000, $3,000, that doesn't mean that you can risk what I risk to win $2,000, $3,000. Because the same people that you see winning big, they have lost big before too. My biggest day sports betting winning is $17,000. I won it on Super Bowl, I think 2 years ago. I literally called out 10 picks and won all 10 picks. $17,000. But my biggest loss that I had for a week was $7,800 when I was out in Maryland three years ago. I want to say I never forgot. I was out there with these two girls, and I just felt like they was just bad luck, bro. It was just me and my mans, and it's like I was supposed to be out there for like a week. But I had lost so much money that week that I moved my flight up. She's like, "Why you leaving early?" I'm like, "Bro, I got it. I just can't. I gotta go, bro." Like, so yeah, I would say those are the three things. What's one good warning? Make sure that you're. I think I already went up. Make sure that you withdraw. Like, when you in the beginning, I always tell people when they first start off, make sure that you start withdrawing every time you win, so you can get in the habit of actually seeing the money come to your account. Because no matter what the parlay says, you could make $50,000 tomorrow. If you don't take it off of the sports book and you leave it on there, you're going to lose it. Guaranteed, you're going to lose it, because you're going to kind of continue to bet it over and over. It's like, no, bro. Like, it's just like investing. Like, the best investors in the world, they don't trade every day. The best sports bettors in the world do not sports bet every day. If you tell me that you sports bet every day, I know that you're a rookie, because it's not even good setups every day. Even today, college football is 40 plus games. I told my chat today, I'm like, I'm real. I don't really see nothing that I like. I see one game potentially that we might do, but realistically, this is not a good day. So I believe in quality over quantity. Don't be a person that's always just betting.
For sure. So can you walk us through like I already said, Sunday is your day where you lock in and watch NFL Red Zone.
Yeah.
So like, can you walk us through like your day before you about to place a big bet, and like what is your process like?
So the process is more so the way that I do it, that my dad taught me. The lines for NFL are released the week before. But if you know anything about line movement, like, for example, if you don't know what a line is, it's basically like the spread of a game. So if the Lions are playing, we use the Seahawks, they played the other day. The line was -4.5 for the Lions. That means they were favored to win the game by 4.5 points. The easiest way to think about that is whatever the final score is, subtract 4.5. So if they won 40 to 30, they really only won 36.5 to 30. That's how the lines work. So lines are released the week before, but they move throughout the week based upon injuries, coaches, game plan, all that different stuff determines the line movement for the week. So I tend to look at line movements on Thursdays. I look at them at Thursday night while I'm watching a Thursday night football game for Sunday. So now I have Thursday, Friday, and Saturday to calculate what I'm going to put in for Sunday. So Sunday morning, I'm not rushing and trying to put the picks in. Like, I already have them in place. I already know what I'm putting in for Sunday on Saturday night. You know what I'm saying? So when it comes to placing a big bet for me is probably anywhere over $2,500 on one pick. Whenever I'm doing that, I'm doing it as a straight bet. I'm probably not parlaying it, because that's another warning. When you first start betting, do not fall in love with parlays. Like, that is literally the sports book's money maker. Like, a lot of people, I bet $100, I'm only gonna win $200. You just doubled your money. A lot of people just want to put $100 in and win $1,000. Like, that's not really
happening.
Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, that's not how that really works. It's kind of like, it's just like sports for real. Like, Steph Curry, the greatest shooter in the world, but even he missed. If he shoot 10 threes, he's not gonna make all 10 of them. He might make 9 out of 10. But in sports, if you make 9 out of 10, sports betting, if you make 9 out of 10, you lost. This is parlay. But if you do 10 straight and you win 9, you probably. You see what I'm saying? So, yeah, when I'm placing a big bet though, I'm really locking in. A lot of things have to align for me to put more money on that. I got to go with my research, my fundamentals. I might have to have some inside info. But I don't really tend to do huge bets like that unless I get inside info or just great intuition. or something like somebody like Pat Mahomes, somebody that I really trust that had made me a lot of money before, I ride with that. You see what I'm saying?
Is there any particular sport or bet like you just stay away from, like not happening, you are not even looking at?
It's so crazy. Women's basketball, until I was in Vegas for the first week of NFL kickoff, so 5 weeks ago. I think they're going to week 5. So I don't bet on women's basketball, and I don't want y'all to like be mad or nothing like that. But the reason I don't bet on women's basketball is because women have something called a menstrual period. So it's like, bro, I don't know when these girls are on their cycles, because you got to think, you're a girl watching this. When you're on your cycle, you're moody, you don't feel like doing anything. So it's like, I don't know when you're on your cycle. I might bet on you today, and your cycle just came on yesterday, so now you don't feel like hooping, and now my money is lost because Mother Nature. So typically, I don't bet on women's basketball. But when I was in Vegas at the Westgate, if you don't know, the Westgate is the biggest sports book. It's the people that actually create the lines for sports books. Well, FanDuel, all of them. Like, nobody bigger than Westgate. So I was at Westgate, and they got hundreds of TVs. We was watching the Eagles game. They was playing overseas. I forgot who they was playing. But on the side, they had on the Aces game. The Aces was playing against somebody, and they were down 13 at half. The Aces are the best team in basketball. Like, I'm not saying that because I was in Vegas. This is literally Asia Wilson, who's the 2-time MVP, plays for them. So I'm like, but they down 13. I looked on FanDuel. It was plus 300. I said plus 300 for the best team in basketball to come back again. I called my man, Jerry. If Jerry watched the big hits, I called him right at the crib. I'm like, yo, what you know? He playing 2. I'm like, bro, get out the air with him, bro. Like, I need you to lock in. He put the bet in for me. It was plus 300. They came back and won by 3. Won the game. So it's like, no, I typically stay away from WNBA, but if it's something like that, I gotta live my chances with the best team in basketball. So, yeah.
So with sports gambling, I know just winning money in general, like it's like thrilling, it's exciting,
for
right?
sure.
So like, how do you balance like the thrill with the possibility of like, damn, I could lose it all too?
Yes, that comes to discipline. The thrill, it's only thrill if you treat it as like I said, a hobby, like a recreation. Like if you actually calculate, like, you know, how many units. Because if people don't know this, like if you just betting dollars, you don't know nothing about units, you never gonna win. I know my units that I'm risking. I know my units that's gonna be won before the bet is even played. So it's like when I win, I just know, okay, cool, I'm up 5 units, 10 units, whatever it may be. But I'm never really too high, too low, because it's just like sports. Like if you go on a basketball court, you get too high or too low, you know, your game is off. Exactly. So I don't really get too high or too low. When I first started, just being young, like I said, being 16, making $6,000 in 1 month, of course I was excited, because like I'd never seen money like that before. But now that I've been doing it for years now, it's just like receiving a paycheck, honestly. Like, when you go to work, you don't get excited when you get paid. I mean, you might, but I mean, it's just like a paycheck, honestly.
Okay, let's switch it up a little bit. So like, if you feel like, if you could place a bet on anything outside of sports, like what would you bet on?
Anything outside of sports? And that's a good question. I've never thought of that. If I had to bet on anything outside of sports, my theory behind it is the last time Donald Trump won, I would have placed a bet for him to win, just off the standpoint that a woman had never been in office. I think he beat Hillary that time. So I would have won that one. But I'm gonna be real. This time, I would bet on Donald, but I wouldn't place as big as a bet, because the money and the marketing that they have behind Kamala Harris is insane right now. So if I had to bet on something, it would probably be the election. But right now, I couldn't give you a pick, because me personally, I don't like either one of them. But yeah, if I had to bet on something, it would probably be the election.
And have you ever like bet on a team that you knew was gonna lose, like just for the thrill? Like,
Nah, that's another great warning. Do not bet on a team because you're from there. Do not bet on your favorite player because it's your favorite. Like, that is not how sports betting works. That's the quickest way to lose your bread. No, I have never placed a bet on a team because, you know, I don't go into any bet thinking I'm going to lose. That's called betting with your heart. I don't do that. Bet with my mind.
all right, so looking back on your journey as a sports bettor, what would be one piece of advice you would give your younger self, or anyone inspired to follow in your footsteps?
Looking back, I would diversify the money that I made and put into more things earlier. I started doing that later in my career, but like every time I make a bet and a withdrawal, what I used to do is take that money and you know, use it at the casino or use it on trips, whatever it may be. But if I was younger, telling myself every time I made a withdrawal, I would use it to put a deposit down on a property or something like that. I think a sports bet is like, it's kind of like the vehicle to get you where you want to get to. You know what I'm saying? It's not the end destination. Granted, you know, I probably owe a sports bet for my entire life just because I'm very good at it and it's fun to me. But I understand that, like I said, there's risk involved, just like anything. But there's less risk involved in things like real estate or things like that that appreciate over time. So I would take my withdrawals from being younger and put them into properties so that I can have assets around. So, yeah.
All right, that wraps it up. I appreciate you coming on the pod, bro.
Appreciate you, man. I appreciate y'all for locking in with me.
We gonna drop this IG and
my
everything
YouTube
right here.
I just started YouTube. JPPOV.
Yes. Make sure y'all subscribe, man.
Sure, bro.
Gotta blow bro channel up. I appreciate y'all. We'll see y'all next week.
Let's get it.